What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today in this video I'm going to be teaching you how to write meta description and meta tags for SEO. So this is so your website is going to be friendly to search engines, and when people search certain keywords you'll hopefully obviously show up with the guidance of this video. Alright, so if you are brand new to this channel, then you may not have seen any of my previous videos. I regularly do affiliate marketing videos on ClickBank, Amazon affiliate, SEO, pay-per-click, absolutely anything to do with driving traffic and affiliate marketing. This is one of the best, most trustworthy resources that you can find on YouTube. All right, so if you are brand new to this channel, then make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you do like the content throughout the video, then make sure to leave me a like on the video. I'm Leon Angus. Let's get into the video. Okay, so as many of you already know, I'm no professional at YouTube. I'm still finding my feet, even a year in with 1,000 subscribers plus. Yep, I'm still finding my feet. But what we're going to be doing in this video is I'm going to be going through my handy dandy mobile phone. And that's what I'm going to use to actually go through this video. Reason being is because it allows me to really go through it in a structured format so you can get the best and most useful help out of the video that you can apply into your online business. So without further ado, let's get into the phone. All right, so the first one is going to be, what are meta tags? Because one of the things that you might not understand is exactly what they are. Okay, so what meta tags are is basically the little snippet that shows up on Google when you make a certain search for a certain particular keyword. So the little snippet that shows up at the top with the blue writing, that's the meta title, and then you get the meta description, which is underneath, that gives you a short kind of brief of exactly what to expect within the article if you click to read more. Now this snippet can be around 130 to 150 characters, or 155 to be precise, for the meta description, and the title is around 65 maximum. You can go 70, but I tend to keep it at 65. I will touch more on that later in this video. Next question is this a ranking factor? Because obviously, you know, if it's not a ranking factor, then do you really need to optimize it for SEO, or do you need to optimize it for the actual reader that's going to be clicking it? Well, the answer to that is both. You do need to optimize for SEO, and you do also need to optimize for the reader, because ultimately they're the ones who are going to be seeing it in the search results and potentially clicking through to read your article. Now, this is a ranking factor, and the reason why is because number one, your click-through rate is measured, but most importantly, where it comes into a ranking factor, because ultimately, obviously, your ranking factors are determined by specific signals that are on your web page, is your SEO title. So the actual title is a ranking factor, but there is no evidence up to now to prove that the description is as well. But ultimately, I would still optimize your meta description for keywords as well, but I wouldn't focus on putting the whole phrase in there. Maybe getting individual words of the phrase and incorporating it into that actual short description is good enough, because ultimately when you make a search, as you may have seen previously, you can see that Google will suggest particular different articles to you and highlight those keywords in bold that are from the phrase that you punched into Google. So we'll actually get onto the computer and I'll show you all of that throughout this video as well. So don't worry if you're not quite understanding what I'm talking about here. So is meta description the same on all pages, or meta tags? The answer to that is no, but with a handy plugin, you don't really need to worry about this. But if you are going to be doing this manually, which I'm not recommending you do in this video, then obviously, you know, for meta description, you would need to understand the different types of different metas. So one of them being for your contact pages, about me pages, and all of that kind of thing. So that's like, you know, your kind of contact or brand pages. And then we've also got your homepage, because that's going to be very specific and intricate. The reason for that is because sometimes you might see when you search for a particular homepage, you might see that it has something called site links. And what that is the part where it shows up your website domain and it will say home of blah, 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 XYZ, and then obviously have a short description of your website, but then it will also have these other links that say contact us or about me, and it will be in a particular link underneath. Well, to set that all up, you can use a plugin, or you can do this manually. So the plugin will actually, you know, do all of that for you, and it will make it specific for homepage and specific for that and particular keywords and so on and so forth. Or you could do this manually. And the reason why you would ever want to consider doing it manually is purely because it's going to allow your site to load up faster. The only downside to using any kind of plugins is that it's going to slow down your site. Doesn't really mean that it's going to slow it down significantly enough that you would need to not use the plugin. You need to make that decision on your own, because I don't know what what other plugins you're going to have on your site, or obviously what theme you're using or what hosting service you're using, because that will depend on the server. All of those different things are going to make a difference to obviously whether you would want to do this manually or not. Now, for beginners or anyone probably watching this video, you're going to just want to use a plugin. Now, the two plugins that I do recommend for doing your meta tags is going to be either Yoast, which is an absolute brilliant plugin. It's been around for some time. It's a complete veteran to WordPress. Or you could also use a new one that I use is Rank Math. Now, there are many other plugins that you can use for this, but those are the two that I find most efficient, if I were to put it that way. And what I would say is that Yoast is a lot more beginner friendly than using Rank Math. Rank Math has a lot of more bells and whistles, you know, so there's a lot more going on. For someone who's a little bit more experienced and already got a site up and running, then obviously that might be the better plugin for you in the list. So the other type of meta tag that you'll find is like single product review pages, or obviously comparison product review pages. So this is going to be significantly tailored for a product. So sometimes obviously you might even see when you go into search results, you see like a star rating, or you see, you know, like kind of a quick link to something or a summary and all these different things you see in the results, and you're like, how do they do that? My plugin doesn't do that. Well, I'm also going to show that to you in this video, because there are particular plugins that do this, and it's called schema markup. So sometimes it could be your theme that allows you to do it, which mine does in this scenario, or it could be obviously that you use some kind of plugin that will allow you to add these options. But I'll give you all of that information throughout this video, so make sure to keep watching. So just to reiterate on this video, if you are going to be doing the meta description, you want to focus that on around 130 to 155 characters. And then if you are doing a meta title, you're going to want to keep that to 50 to 65 characters max. All right, so that's the part when obviously you make a search and then you see the title. And the reason why you don't want to make either of them longer than that is because you get truncated, and what that means is it gets cut off in the search results. So if you have any particular keywords or something that was going to be, you know, very effective for your reader to click, like say for example a power word, or something that's very time specific, or something that's going to, you know, really get them to click, I don't know whether it's best or review or whatever, well then you're going to want them to see that, because ultimately they are the most important thing when you're optimizing for your meta. So you want to be able to get all of it in front of their eyes, in front of their face, so they can see the full package and potentially make the click. All right, so ultimately what is the whole purpose of it? And I just said it in the last part, but everything that you do inside of this section is purely for one purpose, and it's to get a click. You want to get the highest amount of percentage clicks through for the amount of people that see your result, your page and the results pages, to clicking through. Now the average that I've found on my sites is about 2%. I believe that's an industry-wide kind of average. If you go and search on Google and whatnot, some people might have higher, some might have lower, but ultimately you're shooting for about 2 to 3%. Okay, so that means for every 100 people that kind of flash up in front, that your page flashes up in front of, you want at least 2 or 3 of them to click it. Okay, so when it shows up in front of people, that's called an impression. Obviously, if they actually stop on it and actually specifically hover over it, then you'll get a view. Okay, so views and impressions are different. Impressions are just when it's placed in front of them, not actually where they're focused on viewing it. Just like my YouTube videos, when you know you hover and scroll over them, it will get in impressions because you know they're in front of you. But when you stop and hover over one, then obviously it's a potential view. But at the same time, you know, YouTube's a little bit different because the view comes when you view the video. So it can vary depending on what kind of platform you're using. But I don't want to confuse you too much. What I do have is a great list of different things that you can actually do to improve your click-through rate, because ultimately this is what you're optimizing for. And as I said, we are going to get onto the computer in a second, and I'll take you through this step by step. So don't worry, don't stress. Just take a notepad and pen, because I do want you to list out these notes that I've got here and these tips, okay? All right, so as again, I'm reading from my handy dandy phone. Tip number 1 is always write with good grammar, because you have to remember that humans are reading it. So you want good English or whatever language it is that you're writing in, and it needs to read well, okay? You don't want something that's just like kind of misspoken, or just because you're trying to keyword stuff, which is obviously, you know, where you're trying to shove a bunch of keywords in there. Don't focus on that. Your main focus should be to provide the best experience to the person who's going to see it. So you want natural language, and obviously written in clear, well, not plain English, but clear English, you know, so someone can actually see it, read it well, and understand exactly what you're telling them within that title and description. Number 2 is always going to use target keywords in description. Now, this is good practice. As I said, there is no guarantee that this is a ranking factor, but ultimately the keywords are bolded when someone makes a search, so that is going to increase obviously the user experience and the potential click from a reader if they do obviously land on your page in their results as well. So remember, in that description part, you're only optimizing for single keywords on a keyword by keyword basis. So if the keyword was best grooming tools for dogs, well, basically you could do, here are a list of grooming tools. If you have a cat or dog, even though the word is not specifically in that phrase, like best grooming tools for dogs, I'm still incorporating those words into the actual description. And what you want to do is everything is singular. So for example, if you use the word as plural, it will still determine it as a keyword, even if it's singular. So tools can be just written as tool, and the search engine will still ultimately understand what you're trying to do. Okay, so don't worry about putting tools or tool or whatever. If you can't fit it in the way that you want to, do not worry if you have to kind of mention it in a bit of a different way, because the search engine will still completely understand that. Tip number 3 is to keep a good length. As I said, you want to keep your descriptions to 150 characters max, and you want your titles to 65 characters max. You might see some sites breach that and be an exception to the rule, but in most cases you are going to get truncated if you make it longer than that. So good practice is to just keep it to those metrics, and you know that you'll never go wrong. And a way that you can quickly check any of your previous kind of posts or pages that are already over optimized, or not over optimized, wrong term, any of your previous pages that are truncated, you can use a tool called Screaming Frog, and that actually allows you to quickly analyze all of your pages, and then you can see all of the meta descriptions and the meta titles and the lengths. It will actually call them out to you so you can optimize them for the correct lengths. So I highly recommend you check out Screaming Frog and then watch a tutorial online or something to actually figure out how to use it, and it will allow you to fix all those problems. Tip number 4 is to never duplicate your meta descriptions. Now, this can happen easily on like your category pages, on, you know, some of your articles. You don't want to duplicate it, okay? You always want to make sure that every page is unique in its own way. Google don't want to see duplicate content anywhere. I don't know what the minimum requirement is for that on length. You can go and Google that, very easy to find. But at the same time, duplicate meta descriptions are where people get caught out a lot of the time, and obviously this can affect your rankings and the health of your site. So what I would do, it's still kind of a big question, because a lot of you are going to watch this video and say, okay, well, do you de-index your category pages? Personally, if you are not trying to rank your category pages, then I would de-index them. And all that means is that, you know, on Yoast, you just choose to de-index so they're not actually showing up in the search results, because ultimately someone's not going to search a keyword and find your category page or want to find it, unless you're doing a kind of category page that's filled with content. It's kind of content based or just link based, opposed to like a roll or a feed. I personally would recommend that you de-index those pages, but of course, obviously search engines are very much used to people not de-indexing them, as I'm sure a majority of the internet do not. So don't worry about it. If it's not going to really hurt you to that degree. But obviously, if you do have a bunch of duplicate content, then it could potentially cause that problem. So I'll leave the decision down to you. You can make that choice on your own. Tip number 5 is to use rich snippets or schema markup. So all that is when you go to certain sites and you see like the star rating, say for example, if they're doing like a product review kind of article, and then you'll see like a star rating, or it could be like a quick link to a specific piece of that content. Yeah. So what that is basically just using a plugin, and it will allow you to optimize for the search results to show up, and it can really help you to stand out from your competitors, because when you've got those kind of things showing up, obviously you're taking up first of all more screen real estate, which is most important, and on top of it is something different. So a lot of people can quickly see what your article's about. And if you do star ratings on something that you're trying to sell, I'd usually leave it at like 4 or 4.5 stars or 3. Don't do it like 1 or 2 or obviously 5, because 5 stars doesn't look trustworthy, and a lot of people are going to think, oh well, I know it's good now, I'm just going to go off and buy it, you know. So you really want them to have that curiosity, because ultimately all you're doing with meta description is trying to pique their curiosity, so that way they can think, you know what, I think I'm going to get the answer here, I'm going to click it to find out, and then obviously your headline takes them on from there. Okay, so everything has like a stepping stone, and it's almost like climbing up a ladder, and you're just taking them each step of the way. Number 6 is going to be, it's good practice to front load your keyword. And what that means is just basically, if you're doing your SEO title, your SEO meta tag title, then you want to put the keyword at the beginning. So if you obviously see this example here, you can see that obviously the keyword is front loaded. So I also wanted to show you a few examples of some great meta descriptions. So for the first keyword that we've got here, I can see on my phone, is best burgers in London. Okay, so you can see here, that's what it looks like, and that's what good meta looks like. So you can see good practice in the SEO title predominantly here. And then on the next one, we've got Captain America Civil War Review. So you can see that it's quite a long phrase, but the way they've done it is they've separated it with semicolons, and then they've still front loaded that keyword. So obviously you can still see clearly what it is. The SEO side of it is very good, because search engines ultimately can fully understand what it's about. I'm not sure if more weight is put on, you know, the left-hand side from left to right on the search engines. I don't have a clue, but I do know that this is obviously good practice from what I've learned over the time of actually learning about SEO. So I tend to just do it. If you don't, it's not the end of the world. Of course, obviously, only if it makes sense and you can make it work that way, then I would do it. And then lastly, the last example is of meta descriptions, which is in the description box. So you can see how that shows up. And as I said, you only need to focus per phrase on that, sorry, per keyword on that, not for the actual full entire phrase within the section, because you can break it up into parts and incorporate those words just into the description, and it will still work the same way. All right, so with all of that said, let's get onto the computer, and I'm actually going to show you a few examples and how to actually set this all up with a plugin. All right, so let's get into it.
All right, so I just wanted to bring you guys and give you a quick brief of exactly what schema looks like. All right, so if we were to look for this article, this is like one of my sites. If we type baby sleep miracle review, what you'll see is that it has like this star rating here. So you can see that I've front loaded the keyword. This is how I've done it right at the front, and then obviously I follow up with like a kind of question that the reader will have, because ultimately when you come into reviews, when you come into the search results, all you look for is the thing that most says to you that it has the answer. So you look out for a few things, don't you? You just come in, you just take a quick scroll, and you're like usually looking at the first organic result, because everyone skips past the ads, and then you're kind of like, okay, what one looks like it has the answer, and it's all based on the wording, because sometimes you read something and you're like, that looks funny, like it's definitely going to be some spam or some promotion or something like that. Then you're like, oh, this looks like exactly what I'm looking for, and you click that. And that's a good ranking signal. Sorry, that's a good signal to Google, because obviously if they skip past all of these and they click yours, then obviously yours must be, you know, more applicable to them. But then there are other factors that are taken into consideration, obviously, you know, in regards to how long they spend on the page, or if they bounce back off and research it again, and so on and so forth. So there's many other things. But what we're paying attention to here is this section. So this is what site links are called. So you can see here that there's this one above me, but then my one has these links. So that will fast track to people to the subheadings on the page. So you can see, look, they get taken straight to the section, you know, of that. Yeah, okay. So if someone's in a rush, they can quickly click that, like has baby sleep miracle, whatever that is, and then boom, they're taken straight to that point. So you can see my H2s are actually coming up as these links, and the way you do that is by using a schema markup plugin. So what I'm going to show you here is how to do that. So the one that I recommend is called Ultimate Blocks. It's a very good plugin, and if I actually show you it here, I'll just show you here, you can see how it works. So if we actually, you know, the way once you've installed this plugin, very simple to install, and then once you've got it, you can just like search, you go down, like this is because it's most used, but if you go down to Ultimate Blocks, it gives you a bunch of stuff here. So it gives you like this tweet thing and all this kind of stuff. It's quite good stuff, to be honest, yeah? Table of contents, so on and so forth. So there's many different things you can actually add into an article. I won't go through all of them here, but if we click review, it'll come out with this template. And what this is, you see over here, it says, do you want a call to action? You can say yes or no. See, so it can have that button. I think that's brilliant as well, because it converts people when they come to the bottom of the article. When they get down here, look, they can try it themselves and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and then we've got like image size. So that's this here. You can put an image in this section here. So you can see on this one that I've actually got an image. I've used the image on that one. Yeah, okay. Or oh look, you can set an expiry date of the offer and all that stuff. I haven't even used that. See, so that's more advanced stuff. And then you can add a no follow link. And what that is so search engines don't crawl the link if it's an affiliate link. So you wouldn't want the search engine to crawl that because I'm getting a commission. It's a paid link. Okay, so you don't want search engines to crawl that because it's no use to them, and they don't need to know about it. So like, you're making money, they don't like that. Google don't want you to kind of do these links. Like, they're okay with it, but they don't want it. So follow them. We've got like review schema. Okay, so you can see review schema, review image, and schema. So this image and actual text and so on and whatever can show up in the search results. And when you actually go to Google Search Console, it actually brings up all this information. So this title could show up, or this and that. So this might show up as site links. So what you'll see here, how I'm showing up in these results, that's what can show you up as all these site links here that could show up on that. Alternatively, as well, what you can do, you can use like a theme with schema markup included. So a theme that I use is called Akabadu by Income School. And you can see here, like if you got a review or something, it gives you the schema markup. So if you got recipes, that will pop up, say how to make a banana smoothie or something like that. You might see it like pop up. Like recipes sometimes pop up. That's one that usually show up in schema. Like let's have a look. Let's strawberry or something like that. I don't know. But sometimes you'll find schema. So that could be schema as well. Let's have a look actually. That probably is. That's schema right there. It looked like an ad. See, that's schema right there. So that's it. So to get this stuff, you see it looks like an advert. Like that's how good it is. I didn't even think it was like the actual recipe. So you can see the way they're doing that is by basically, so even if they're not showing up like number 1, they could be like number 5 down here, but they also got this position, and then someone clicks it to go find out more, so that's a click there. So you're taking up more real estate on the screen. And then, or you could do like the rating method, or site links as well. And the way you do that is by using a plugin called Ultimate Blocks, or you could use something like this. You see, so this one's like a recipe. You can add new on this theme. Sorry, this is the way it will work. See, so you could add the recipe and so on and so forth, and then that will show up. Yeah. So I'm still using Yoast on this site. I know I'm not using Yoast on this site. I was just using that for an example purpose. But you can even see here that Yoast has it as well. I think, is that Yoast as well? Maybe, I'm not sure. But that might not even be Yoast. No, it's not. That's just part of the actual plugin. So when you're doing a recipe, you can see you'd write the article, so on and so forth, and then at the bottom you put the recipe meta. So you can see, look, time in minutes, blah blah blah, and that's the schema markup that's going to show at the top of here. So that's going to be like how long it takes, 5 minutes, rating, and so on and so forth. So you come and look at something like that and then fill in that information in the relevant format, and you can see ingredients and instructions, and then ingredients list. It doesn't get any better than that, and then you can also add a Pinterest image. This theme is built for affiliate blogs, so I highly recommend you check it out. The link's in the description under Akabadu if you want to check it out, but it saves you all that time. You can just use this theme, and this theme is like the fastest theme on the internet at the moment. I believe it's the most stripped down theme. Look, I'll show you how fast it is. If we go to Google Page Speed Insights, I haven't got any real content actually, but these images are quite large at the minute on the site. But let's have a look. We'll see how fast it is. So you can see, look here, 91 on mobile and 97 on desktop, and I haven't even yet optimized the images. That's just super heavy images. Once I neaten that up, you'll see how fast it will get. So it's ridiculously fast, and it's specifically built for affiliate blogs. Like if you take a look at their blogs, they got quite a few on this theme. I don't know, Cabin Freedom or whatever else they got. They're all on this theme. So this, look, this is the theme here. It's simple theme, works for affiliate sites. They're all for affiliate sites. So you can see that's the same thing again, so on and so forth. And my sites use it as well. So you can see, look, 1.62 seconds it's loading on. It's a B performance grade. Try and match that or beat that on Pingdom. You have a hard time, and try and beat that on Google Page Speed Insights. You have an even more difficult time. So these are ridiculously high and fast speeds, and obviously it has all of the functionalities with the schema markup and all of that, so you don't need to use any third-party plugins for it. But of course, alternatively, if you do have a theme already installed and whatever else, then the best plugin I could recommend for that is probably Ultimate Blocks. Of course, there are many others as well. You just have to check them out. But Ultimate Block, the reason why I like it is because it doesn't just give you this functionality. It gives you a bunch of other stuff as well. I believe even this stuff or something might be it as well. But it's a very good plugin. Make sure to check it out. All right. So I hope you understand the schema now. And if you did enjoy this video, then make sure to leave a like. And if you are new to the channel, then make sure to subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.